Pasuk Tes. V'yom aleichem v'yisahi le'mor. I said to you at that time, Lucha levadi seiseschem. I'm not able by myself to carry you, meaning you people are too difficult to deal with. So Rashi cites the famous Chazal, Moshe Yocho Lodun is Israel. Moshe himself couldn't judge the Jewish people. Odom Shotzi Mitzrayim. The person was able to take him out of Egypt. V'kor le'Mesayam. He split the sea on their behalf. V'hordes Hamon. And he brought the mun for them. Vigas as a slov, the Yuchel Adonam. It's very interesting. He says the person who split the sea, took him out each, split the sea, brought the mun, brought the slov. He wasn't able to what? To judge them. And what does he speak about? What about giving the water? He split the rock initially, the water. The Be'er Shel Miriam actually only came about through his action. Right? People said they were going to die of thirst. So if that's the case, why is that mentioned here? Why are all these other mentioned? Why isn't the Be'er Shel Miriam mentioned? It was due to his action. Now, the Be'er Shel Miriam followed the mun, correct? If you read the story, after the splitting of the sea, we came to a location called Morah. The Jews complained because the water was bitter. They had no water. Hashem says to Moshe, take the tree, put it in the water becomes sweet. They travel further. They say they're dying of hunger. Moshe says, you will see, it's Hashem who took you out of Egypt, and the man is brought. He brings man. Then the Jews complain again. And here they say something, Hayesh Elokim b'Kabeinu Moyin. Is God in our midst or not? And Moshe says, Lo mutznasas Hashem. Now when you're asking that question, now you're testing God. So we discussed this in the past. Until the splitting of the rock, the first time, Moshe never said to them, why are you testing God? Now, after the mun, because Moshe Rabbeinu says to Klal Yisrael, when you will have the mun, you will see it's Hashem who took you out of Egypt, not us. Until the mun, Klal Yisrael believed that the reason why they're having all the difficulties was because, in truth, they didn't deserve to leave Mitzrayim. It was why? Because if they're over the Avodah Zorah, as when we passed through the Yam Suf, the Malachim faction claimed this. We read the words, it says, V'mayim ho'ilem cholam yinam u'smolam. The water was a wall to the right and to the left. So the word choma is written chosavav, the vav is deleted. Because without vowels, it's read chema. The chema was, they were totally engulfed in wrath. Why? Because the Malachim were claiming, Elo of the Avodah Zarah, Elo of the Avodah Zarah. Why are you destroying the Egyptians? Klal Yisrael know better. They deserve to be destroyed. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu answered the Malachim that the Egyptians, that they were idolaters, that was their own initiative. We became idolaters, was Tochonis. It was a setting because we were slaves, almost we had no choice. That was Hashem's response to the Malachim. But factually, the Jews themselves didn't understand, factually, since they were pagans, they didn't deserve Gula. So if they didn't deserve redemption, with all the miracles, why did it happen? The answer is, there's a principle known as Tzaddik goes HaKadosh Baruch Hu Makayim. If the Tzaddik decrees something, Hashem fulfills the word of the Tzaddik. It says Hashem is actually doing it, but it's all based on the merit of the Tzaddik. But what happens if the merit of the Tzaddik doesn't really carry out? It's not sufficient. All of a sudden, it ceases to be. So Klal Yisrael said to them, to Moshe, after the splitting of the sea, you have the schus, your schus took us out of Egypt. Your schus allowed the sea to be split, allowed the Egyptians to be destroyed. Now, but The water's bitter. What's going to happen? Hashem says, take the tree, put it in the water, it became sweet. We find there is no claim, there's no reaction from HaKadosh Baruch Hu's part at this point for that question, which seems to be a lack of faith. Now they say they're starving. Again, there's no reaction. Hashem says, tell them there'll be man. Every morning the man will fall, no question. But Moshe says now, if you look at the Pesukim, now you will know that Hashem took you out of Egypt and that we didn't take you out of Egypt. Because the man, as it says in Chazal, the man itself, it says, when you have the man, it gives you a sense and understanding of what truth is. So after that, you will no longer have a claim. You will understand it's Hashem took you out. It's not us. We didn't take you out. And after the man, all of a sudden, again, they have a problem with water. It's lack of water. Now, Moshe says to Klal Yisrael, Lamus Nasas Hashem. Now, it's no longer us. Now that you're understanding it's God took you out, why are you testing God? You're testing God whether He's going to come through for you or not. Vayovu Amalek. Immediately after he struck the rock, Vayovu Amalek. Why Amalek? Just as Amalek is Lo Yorei Elokim, they don't fear God. So it was Mida connected Mida. It was measure for measure that since you spoke as if you didn't believe in God, therefore the people who don't believe in God, you were attacked by them. So that came as a result of what? Of a failing. So the Selah, the rock that was struck that provided the water, it came through a lack of faith. All the things that we say over here, we say a person who split the sea for you, took you out of Egypt, split the sea. Hodia Hodis Amon, Vahigiz Aslov, which came together with the Mon. Loha Yochel the Donam. He doesn't speak about the striking of the rock, because the striking of the rock came about as a result of something negative. There, it was a failing of Klal Yisrael. Therefore, it doesn't speak about Moshe Rabbeinu. He struck the rock and the water came. But that was only a response to the lack of faith. Therefore, it doesn't speak of Moshe's special ability that he was able to bring water, even though he did strike the rock and provided the water, but that was a failing of Klal Yisrael. Therefore, it's not mentioned. In terms of, so a person can do so much, he says, Lo yuchal levad yiseis eschem. You're not able to carry Klal Yisrael on your own. And that he answers, Elokachom alem. Hashem Elokeichem hir be'eschem. Higdil v'hirim eschem al dayanchem. You, your people, you surpass your dayanim. What does that mean? Nota lesa onesh bikem unesarim al dayanim. Hashem takes the punishment off the constituents and puts it on the dayanim, on the judges. Kachom Shlomo ki miuchal lishpot es abcho hakoved is who has the ability to judge this very weighty people. Why are they weighty? Efshe b'shekosbov yechem mikol odom. I mean, Shlomo was the wisest man who ever lived, and anything's too difficult, too weighty for him. Oma miuchal lishpot el kachom Shlomo in dayin umazu kadai dayin sharumos shimdod v'hori gumaka v'chonek. Whatever the judges among the nations of the world. They judge, they kill, they strangulate, and even they corrupted the law. The Gozel, Imkach Klum, Hashem doesn't react. Ani, im chiyavti momesh lo kedin, but if I ever give a judgment that one has to pay, which is not in conformance with the law, nafshus ani nitva, Hashem will take the life of the dayan. Shenema v'kovis kovev nefesh. If the judgment is not correct, Hashem says, I will take you neshama. Therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu says, you people are too difficult for me. I have to share the burden. Right now, the full responsibility is on me in terms of liability. Therefore, I need other people to share in the burden. I mean, first of all, what's Moshe Rabbeinu worried about? The liability. I mean, every judgment Moshe gave, Moshe is Torah Semis. Moshe, everything was absolutely correct. So I'm thinking, we find that when was Moshe Rabbeinu, we have just last week's Parsha, when was it Nisal Mimene Halacha? When did he have this lapse of clarity? When he became angry. Whenever Moshe Rabbeinu became angry, the Halacha, he had this fade out at that moment. The Jews were tough people. As a result of that, they really, by the Mei Meriva, why did he strike the rock? Rashi brings Chazal. Because he became angry. Why did he become angry? Because of their what? The misbehavior. Because the Jews didn't speak properly. They had no right to speak the way they spoke. And in the past, other times, why did Moshe Rabbeinu have the Salman in Halacha? He forgot the Halacha by the Shmonos Mei Miluim, by Bnei Aaron. Also, he became angry. So if the people, as they say in the vernacular, they get his goat, automatically, if I make that mistake due to that, I'm culpable. As he says, because the Dayonei Yisrael, not like Dayono Musolmo, the judges of the Jews are not like the nations of the world. Hashem says the judge offers a corrupt judgment. Hashem says, I take you neshama. That's Lucha Levadi Eschem. Because you're a contentious people, therefore, as a result of that, I may react to your behavior, and therefore, automatically, the judgment may not be a proper judgment. Now, it's interesting. I always ask the question, if a person steals $1 million, Hashem doesn't say, I will take your soul. But the judge, if he offers a corrupt judgment, Hashem says, I will take your neshama. The Gemara says in Sanhedrin that a dayan who's done emes labito, that he renders a truthful judgment, nasa shutiv ma'kodesh baruch ma'aseh bereishis. He becomes God's partner in creation. And if he offers a corrupted judgment, Hashem says, I will take his neshama. I look at the extremes. You offer a correct judgment, you're my partner in creation. If not, I will take your life. Why? You steal, Hashem doesn't take your life. You violate Shabbos, and he's not forewarned, he doesn't take your life. Here, I will take your life. So we once mentioned, there's a Chazal, we find that initially, what was the intent of creation when Hashem created the world? The world should be created with Midas Hadin. So why was the world created with Midas Hadin? So Rashi in Bereshis cites the Medrash, because Hashem saw the world could not survive the exactness of judgment of Hashem, because man is prone to fail, the world will be destroyed. So Shitifim Midas Harachim, so Hashem coalesced into the Midas Hadin, the attribute of mercy. But why is din so important? Because if Hashem lets, as they say, lets it slide, things are not going to come out right. If he lets people not appreciate the accountability of their behavior, so what does he do? Hashem says, there's midas harachim. So how do you compensate? So Hashem says, although there's no din shel malo, there has to be din shel mato. There has to be human justice. You have, even among non-Jews, one of the Shev mitzvahs of Noach is mishpotim. They have to establish a judicial system, because you have to have din. Without din, the world cannot go on. Even though there's no divine justice, but there has to be human justice. But the Medrash says, din lamato and din lamalo. If there's appropriate justice on the terrestrial level, there is no divine justice. But if there is no human justice, there has to be divine justice. So what happens? If the judge is an appropriate judge, he's done din emes lamito, his judgment is what is correct and truthful, Hashem says, you're my partner in creation. Because the world will continue. Because if not for the judge, the world couldn't continue. Because if there's no human justice, there has to be divine justice. The world cannot survive God's justice. Therefore, if he is an appropriate judge, he doesn't allow himself to sway, and he's totally impartial, you become God's partner in creation. But if you're not, Hashem says, I will take you to Neshama, because you're going to be the one, all the fallout and all the suffering and all the destruction and putting the world in jeopardy, who's at fault? It's the human judge, because there is no din shel mato, therefore there is din shel malo. Therefore, that's what he's saying over here. The judges among Jews, they carry the brunt of everything, because if they don't come through as they're supposed to come through, the world will not continue to exist.